Thank you everyone for joining us today. We are going to be reviewing what is new in the latest release of Archibus version 26.3. Today we have with us Fred Kraus and Octavian Vlad, who are going to take you through the updates. Before we get started, I have just a couple of housekeeping items. Everyone is on mute, so if you have any questions, please enter them into the question section and we will get to those throughout the presentation. And we are recording this and we'll be sending out the recording either later today or tomorrow. With that, I will turn it over to Fred.
Thanks, Danielle. You can hear me okay?
Yes, we can.
All right. Thanks everyone for joining. Exciting to review with you today Archibus version 26.3, which just came out. As Danielle mentioned, I'm joined today. Octavian will do a little bit of the demonstration, but we're all of the product team is here to answer questions, including Ying Chin, who has done a lot of work on this release as well in maintenance. And we have a new member of the product team, Greg Ayers. Just wanted to introduce. He's here. He probably won't be answering questions today, but he's here to. We just wanted to introduce everybody to him. He's a new member of our team. So with that, I'm happy to talk about what we're going to talk about today, which is all of the new items that we released in 26.3. We'll start with Web Central enhancements, and I'll go through a few of those. You'll see the icon there just indicates all the ideas from user voice that we got into the product. So thanks for your continued feedback using that portal. As you can see, we take the votes and the ideas very seriously. So we'll talk a little bit about improved PDF floor plans in the Space Console, some improvements in the Report Central and the UI grid for Space Console. Won't go into those very much detail. They are in our help. I'll review a little bit the proof of concept and solutions that we have now in the product. We'll note the BMS and fault detection diagnostics here today. I'll talk a little bit about housekeeping, some changes that we've done with our help system and with SAS module navigation. And then we'll talk a little bit more about the workplace enhancements. As we all know, the return to work has been on everybody's mind. How do we set up a hybrid return to work safely for our employees? And we continue to focus the Archivist Workplace on that. And then I'll also introduce the new Workplace mobile app, which is really Archivist Workplace, the same product, but we've done more. We've concentrated on having the mobile interface and having it be available in the mobile stores, which are now available in the Google and Apple mobile stores. So we did just release 26.3. It is out as of the end of last week. And with that, I'll go into Web Central. So the first thing I wanted to talk about is the maintenance console and how we approach documentation attachments. So since maintenance was a product in Archibus, we had a section to upload documents related to the maintenance request, and there were 4 spots to upload documents. We heard from many of you or your partners that 4 sometimes isn't enough. So what we've done is introduce an activity log that allows the user or anybody who's in the maintenance process to upload documents, as many as they want, and it shows up, as you see in the screenshot here, as an activity log that shows like what, including document uploads and comments. So as it says here, the activity log does include status changes and any comments and any document uploads. So we basically changed it from the 4 to being unlimited. So hopefully you'll enjoy that change. I'll mention here also that we have been working on, and actually next week we'll have another webinar on Archibus Onsite, which is the new mobile app for maintenance and for technicians in the field. and we applied this change also to on-site. That was really the impetus behind doing that, so that we allow not just the supervisor or the back office to see these documents, but also the technician in the field using their mobile device. We heard from many of you that printing or outputting to PDF your floor plan still is top of mind, and we've done a lot of work in the past on having more options to print your floor plans. One of the pieces of feedback we received was still when you zoomed into, like, let's say a corner of the floor and wanted to print out that, it was still the fidelity was a little bit reduced, and it wasn't part of the professional looking title block and legend. So we changed that. Here you'll see an output that does show the corner of the floor. The label sizes are adjusted and reflect what shows in the Space Console as how you adjusted the label size, and of course the labels that you're using, and all that can be printed out with high fidelity and with the legend. I'll move over and talk about, as I mentioned, we'll focus in on the BMS integration. We had a couple of webinars recently, a customer webinar, I believe 2 weeks ago, on our integration with Clockworks Analytics, which is a company that collates all BMS data and sends it up to the cloud, and from it does analysis on it to produce diagnostic information from the faults that it detects. So the phrase they use is fault detection and diagnostics. We are able to bring that information into Archibus and share that within both diagnostic history and in the maintenance console, where we will take diagnostics that meet a certain threshold of priority and automatically create work for them. So while Clockworks does the diagnostics, they're looking to Archibus to provide the workflow, what happens after something is detected that needs attention. And that will go right into work requests, where that obeys the SLAs and goes right to the right person in the field to work on it. And while they're working on it, they'll have the context of not only of that diagnostic, but any other diagnostic history or information that for the asset they're working on. So we are excited about this integration. And to explain a little bit more detail, I'll hand it over to Octavian to walk you through a brief video demo of it.
Thank you, Fred.
So,
it's nice to see so many people interested in our presentation and what's new in Archibus. So with that said, I'll start showing more details about the integration with Clockworks. As Fred mentioned, Clockworks runs a series of analysis and generates diagnostics for equipment. This is a very extensive report that goes into many details about the problem and how you could fix it. And there is also a set of charts that's presented in the report. And we can take all these diagnostics and automatically import them in Archibus. This is a schedule import that you can schedule at whatever frequency you want. And these are the actual diagnostics that we imported. They each have 3 types priority coming from Clockworks. And based on those priorities, Archibus will auto-generate work requests. And this is configurable. You can configure what diagnostic generate work requests, and then you can see the work request in the maintenance console, where you can filter to actually see only those that were created from a diagnostic. And then if you pick one of those work requests, you'll notice that the description is the actual diagnostic report that you saw in Clockworks. And if you expand the description, at the bottom of the description, there is a link, a text link that is the actual report in Clockworks. So you can take that and paste it in the browser and get the actual report. And in the equipment tab, you will see the diagnostic that generated this work request. So you have some traceability. And then at the bottom of of the screen, you see the entire diagnostic history for the equipment. So even if the work request was created manually, you could see if there is a history of diagnostics for that equipment. And all this is configurable. These are all the analyses that Clockworks runs. There are over 50, and you can configure each of them. You can set whether you want to import diagnostics or not for each analysis. And then you can also set if you want to create work requests for that analysis. And if you choose to create work request, you would also have to specify a priority trigger limit, meaning over which priority value Archibus will generate diagnostics. And this in this example over here, the priority is set to 7. So if one of the 3 priorities that you saw earlier is over 7, Archibus will automatically create work request, and from that point on, Archibus will use your maintenance workflow, and if you have set up SLAs, it will apply those SLAs. I think there is a lot of information to go about the integration with Clockworks. Is very useful because it saves you time and it also automates the entire process. So I'm looking forward to your questions, and I'll be happy to respond to them. Thank you.
Thanks, Octavian. Yeah, we're really excited about this integration and getting into that realm of condition-based maintenance, being much more proactive in maintenance. I think will, as Octavian mentioned, save a lot of time and money, and preserve the health of the critical assets in your organizations. And here, Clockworks is able to do that because they really focus down on specific analysis. The analyses here are the ones that come from Clockworks that they focus on, that they've, from their experience, have noted to be the ones that typically cause trouble and cost money in some of the main pieces of equipment that most corporate real estate has. So the other POC is just worth noting, the proof of concept that we have in our product now. And if you go to the technology section of our navigator, there's an innovative solution section that lists them all, from the integrations from BMS to IoT and Forge. This is the IoT one. I believe I presented this also in the last release. We've done some enhancements to it, but the idea behind this is, of course, connecting to IoT devices that measure occupancy, and we're able to bring that information also over into Archibus from most occupancy or IoT occupancy vendors. Who report on similar information such as rooms and occupied or not, and a date timestamp, and report the results here in Archibus. You'll see there's in many IoT devices, they don't just report on occupancy, although that might be the primary. They also report on other conditions that occupants care about, such as temperature, humidity, and we're able to get that information also into Archibus and report on it. Again, we're also really excited to go forward with our Forge integration. I'm sure between this release and the last release, you know that there's been an announcement about Autodesk having invested in iOffice and Space IQ, and we're really excited about that partnership and bringing with it the chance to really bring a very tight integration with the Forge APIs that are really what Autodesk has been talking a lot about in bringing their model into the cloud and bringing access to that model via APIs into other sources. And we are working directly with them to on the high value use cases, and to bring that vision of the model and all of its richness into Archibus. So we're really excited about this integration, and more will come on that, I'm sure, in the future. Some additional changes I mentioned at the beginning, mostly with the first couple are with our SaaS delivery. We heard from some of our SaaS customers and partners that the system administration options for partners and customers were limited, so we've expanded those. We've also streamlined the module navigation. The SaaS delivery of Archibus is still the same product, still Archibus, but we reorganized it into modules instead of domains and applications. And we reflect that in the navigation going forward as well if you're logging in as a user who has the SaaS modules enabled. And we've also simplified the help link. We have one help link that will keep constant throughout future releases. It's help.archibus.com, and we're excited about that, but the question may be, well, what about my version-specific help? That's not going away. We are keeping snapshots of all the versions like we've done before, and we're reorganizing the help user interface to make sure that not only from the one common help link, you have access also to your version-specific help as well. So this is in addition to the version-specific help, but also helps to streamline your bookmarks going forward if you are upgrading more frequently or if you're using the SaaS delivery. And with that, I'll turn our attention to Archivist Workplace. As I mentioned at the beginning, this is still a major focus. Hearing from you and the needs really focused more on return to work. And we introduced the last time this a concept of booking multiple desks at once. Let's say you're a team manager and you just want to grab 10 seats. So you can go to a zone or a small pod, and if it has more than 10 seats, you can use an up-down buttons to just book 10 seats at once. But then the questions actually came in, I think from you and from partners, that what happens if I want to name those 10 people? Well, here we're allowing that extra step. So you can book desks in bulk, still from a team perspective, but listing the individual team members so that they can log in themselves, or we have a record of those individual person bookings for contact tracing and other use cases, and they can find their own way into the office. So built on the concept of booking multiple desks at once, this is just adding that extra step of either naming colleagues or visitors within that sequence. Making recommendations. So what happens if you were in last week as an employee, and the employee is coming in this week and they just want to book the same desk again. So we have a little interface that, based on your search, will recommend your previous bookings if they're open on the date that you're looking for, and so you can one-click book again the same space. Searching for employees by date. This also came from some feedback from you, which we're happy to have done and responded to. And the case here is what happens. You want your colleague mentions that they're coming in on Friday, and so you want to come in on Friday too. So you search for Friday and you search for that colleague, and within that process, the interface notes where your colleague is, so you can book a desk right next to them. Calendar integration is another item that we've worked on, and really making it really building on the Exchange integration we have, and responding to more cases where, let's say, you're using Outlook 365, or and you have a process already of defining rooms as resources and booking those in Outlook. Well, that information will sync also into Archibus, such that the Archibus reservations has the same room-free busy time that Outlook has, and so that no longer Archibus is still the system of record, but it shares that data with Exchange, so that the room-free busy time is consistent with those two, with the same with those two environments. I do have a brief demonstration of the Exchange integration that I'll share. I think this was a little longer than I wanted it to be, so I'll move into a little bit, I'll fast forward a little bit. So this is where you're actually defining the rooms. So the question is, how does Outlook know or sync the rooms? And it's through the room configuration where you can set room mailboxes for each room that you want to also have in Exchange. So you see here the room has a mailbox. In this case, it's room 127. And when you go to Outlook, just showing the person logged in, and here in the calendar can create a new meeting invite. Invite attendees as normal. Oh, this is the date and time selection. Inviting team members. And here where you're also inviting the room as the resource. And you see here you created the reservation within Outlook. Get the notification. And then back in Archibus, using the calendar console, that reservation is available, is synced. And here it is on the calendar. And I think this shows, yeah, if you're making changes to the reservation, that information flows back into Exchange. So we'll let that play out as well. So here we're changing the meeting name to the extended to show that it's extended. The time is extended to 2 p.m. and then back in Outlook, see the change automatically gets processed and shown in Outlook as well. So that's the nature of the enhanced Exchange integration. Again, building on what we had before, but enabling again that room availability between Outlook and Archibus, and any changes, making it, the other change was being able to initiate the meeting within Outlook, making changes in either environment, and how that seamlessly syncs between the two environments. So the other big change is that we've put all the good features of Workplace as a web app, as you know it, with a URL, and you can access that URL. It's still the same responsive design application, but now we've also wrapped it into something that can be downloaded, as I mentioned, from the app stores. So this really enabled us to work more exclusively on the mobile form factor. And when you when you had it on your mobile phone, and even in a responsive design format, hitting, just going through your browser to a URL, some of you had experienced the address bar still visible on the browser. So, and with a downloadable app, that goes away. It's a true mobile app now. And with that, we can also start applying native features to it. For example, uploading pictures from the device's camera roll. Now we can enable that. We're going to start working on push notifications, for example, which is only available if you had something native on your mobile phone to be able to interact with. So again, it's the same product, same code base, but more focused or more designed for the mobile phone in this case, and building on that some other native features that we'll be able to put in. So we're really excited about offering that to you. And just a brief demonstration of that, I'll just show you that in action. So this is Workplace on the mobile phone. Again, same feature set that I mentioned, showing the reservations, showing the recommendations, being able to book spaces. Here I'm also booking another space. I think I'm going to do the show the find employee feature that I mentioned before. So if I'm looking for Abby and I want to book next to Abby, I'll search for Abby. You see that represented on the floor plan and allows the person to book right next to them, right next to Abby. It's very fast. I think I should have slowed it down a little bit. Here's another example of booking in bulk. So here the sequence is, if I'm looking for, in this case, this space has 9 seats. I'm booking 3 of them at once. It just saves going back through the whole process 3 times. So you can just do that in one easy process. And I think for the last thing I went, you can see the your reservations. And I'll show a work request. Let's say you have an issue with your lights. And here I'm showing being able to, having taken a picture before, being able to browse your camera roll and apply pictures right from there. That saves and then that goes right into the SLE process and into the maintenance workflow as you'd expect. So brief demonstration of, again, Workplace, but then as a mobile, as a downloadable app, and showing it on the mobile device. Join us next week. I mentioned before, we've been working on Archibus Onsite, which is another mobile solution for the technician, and we'll be demonstrating that in much more detail next week. But just to whet your appetite a little bit, here's some screenshots of Archibus Onsite, showing the home screen, a way to group many options to group the work orders that are in the technician's queue, showing the rich information, for example, the equipment information, floor plans that are available, identifying the location of work, and I mentioned the activity log that allows multiple, unlimited document uploads as part of work orders in the maintenance process, showing here on the mobile phone in the activity, including comments. So more on that next week. Looking forward to that. Looking forward to that webinar as well. There's been a lot of questions about mobile positioning, so I thought I'd share this as well, and I'm sure we'll get into more detail on this next week as well. We have a mobile framework. Right now, it's the latest version of the mobile framework is 4.0. That's not going away. That still has. We are still supporting that. That has both. It has a full feature set and a lot of apps that a lot of apps included in it. Those apps are really can be categorized into 2 main categories: employee features and field worker features. Those people who work in the field. The employee features really are encapsulated in the Workplace Services Portal app within the mobile framework. And the field worker features, there's many of them, but I highlight just the maintenance mobile app, asset and equipment survey, and Spacebook, all really focused on different cases that again are concentrated on the field worker. Going forward, when I talk about Archivist Workplace and Archibus Onsite, what we've done really is split out those two major categories into two different mobile apps. So Archivist Workplace really focuses or concentrates on the employee features, including find people, spaces, booking rooms, and requesting services, which I just showed. And then Archivist Onsite, which we'll demonstrate more next week, really concentrates on the field worker features. We're starting with maintenance and work orders. We'll build in other field worker features along the way, but that's just really just a pretty simple way of describing where we are now with the mobile framework and where we are going with Archibus Workplace and Archibus Onsite. Again, the mobile framework is not going away anytime soon, so but we are building new and more modern mobile apps on modern infrastructure, taking into consideration the lot of innovation that's been happening on mobile devices. So we're excited about taking the mobile approach going forward into the future with Workplace and Onsite. Hopefully that clarifies things a little bit with mobile. And wrapping up, as a reminder, keep using user voice. We really enjoy the feedback from the feedback and the votes. As I mentioned before, we do take that seriously, and that plays a large part in what we decide to prioritize for the future, for future innovation. So thanks again for all of your ideas and votes, and keep them coming. And with that, I think that wraps up what we wanted to share for 26.3, and happy to take your questions.
Great, thank you so much, Fred and Octavian. We do have a few questions that have popped up. The first one being, will there be a way to transfer documents from the 4 fields in the current work request to the new document management solution that you showed at the start of the webinar?
Very good question. I might hand that over to Ing to answer. I will mention that I don't know that the maintenance console, I'll just mention that the maintenance console still shows those 4 documents, so that's not going away. We're just adding to it that activity log. But there might be a transition path. Ing, do you want to add anything to that?
I think, Fred is right. We do support, currently we do show both the 4 documents field on maintenance console as well as the new document entries in the activity feeds tab. So I guess the solution is for you to start to migrating into the new new ways of adding documents and adding the through the on-site or through the maintenance console. And at one point, I think we might deprecate that the other 4 documents field, but right now they both are showing in maintenance console, so you can submit the document through that.
But just to add to that, the feedback might be, when we deprecate that, we'll have a utility that transfers perhaps transfers the documents into the activity feed for those who want to just upgrade and then go forward with the activity feed.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that's a good point.
For work that's in process.
Yep, that's a good point.
Great, thank you. The next question is, what type of attributes can you add to a document? Are they similar to the attributes that are available in the document reference library?
So we have 2 types of documents. One is reference doc. For those type of docs, there are various of structure you can add in, like categories, types, and names and descriptions. For the documents in this release, if you add the documents link to a particular work request, we are using the standard Archibus document management system, which you can specify documents name and description. And I think we are doing enhancements for next version is to allow you to be able to add more information to that document attributes field. But if you have any request, feel free to send it through the user voice or Fred or me.
Perfect, thank you. The next question is Clockworks the only BMS analytics tool that Archibus integrates with?
We've worked with them to integrate because we wanted each analytics tool has its own set of APIs. But that said, if there are other if you're working with already some analytics tools and want to integrate in a very similar way, talk to your business partner, and we have a head start on that already, having applied these cases to the integration with Clockworks.
Perfect, thank you. The next question, will it integrate with Google Calendar?
We're working on GCal as the next step in calendar integration. It's not yet available, but that's I heard feedback on that, and that's something that's coming.
Great, thank you. Next question, if I have the original Exchange integration that didn't have meeting room integrations, can I upgrade or switch, or how does that work?
Good question. I believe that an upgrade would allow you to take advantage of the new features for the Exchange integration. So it's the same same solution. Just the upgrade would avail you of the new integration use cases.
Great. And with the Exchange integration update, are you now able to see attendees' availability in the workplace kiosk when creating a reservation?
We haven't in workplace in the workplace either web app or mobile app. We have not yet enabled seeing employee free visit time. We'll work on that. That's on the roadmap to integrate that UI into workplace as well. But right now, it's the employee free busy time is still available on the reservations calendar console, but not in workplace.
Okay. And for the mobile app, is it available to be used with Archibus versions like 24.1 and onwards?
The mobile app is as of 26.3.
Okay.
So we have not, yeah.
Okay, sorry. And is there a separate charge or is it free?
The mobile app works exactly, the pricing we haven't changed. So good question. We haven't changed the pricing or offering for the mobile app. So it's the same way that Workplace web app currently works. So it's based on the underlying licenses you have for hoteling or reservations or work or maintenance or service desk, and enabled via the PACPs. So it's the same approach, no change.
Okay. And what is the name of the actual app in the App Store in Google Play Store?
Archivist Workplace.
Okay, perfect. Okay, let's see. Does the new Exchange integration also work when reserving a space in the Workplace portal?
I'm sorry, the question is, does the Exchange integration work when you're looking at the Workplace? portal in we have not changed the current mobile, the mobile framework for interfaces. So no, that would not, I don't believe, I'd have to check, but I don't believe that would work with the current mobile framework.
Okay, got it. And next question, we are currently using a MS Power App tool to book entry to the workplace by floor with a manager approval step. Can we supplant this or integrate this to have a pre-approval of bookings for the return to workplace?
I think I'd have to go into more detail. Perhaps we'll answer that offline. We do not currently have, we do not currently enable approvals for any desk bookings from workplace.
Okay, got it, thank you. And when using the mobile app and creating a work request, are the same problem types noted on the app as would be on the console?
Yes. About a year ago, we introduced a service catalog, so more of an expanded service catalog with the hierarchy that can be defined in service desk or in maintenance, and then related to a problem type. So the long of the short of that is that your service catalog is expanded and can then map to maintenance problem types as a configuration on the back end, so you can see the full catalog, and then those flow into maintenance work requests with a problem type that you've defined.
Perfect, thank you. The next question, for the new Archibus Onsite, will it use mobile licensing or ACPs and PACPs?
Good question. I think we'll get into more detail next week. But we are not pricing Archibus Onsite as a separate application. It will be part of the maintenance module. So more to come on that, but it's not its own. It's not going to be its own entity to be priced separately. It'll be included with Archibus maintenance.
Perfect, thank you. Somebody did ask for the link to next week's webinar, so I just posted that in the chat, so you should be able to grab it from there. And then the next question is, I think you may have touched on this a little bit, but if we own Archibus Mobile, will we have access to Archivist Workplace and Onsite?
No, if you have Archibus with a mobile framework, it is separate. And Archibus Workplace, as I mentioned, is available through PACPs the same way that it has been as a web app. And Onsite will be part of Archibus maintenance. So one doesn't lead right into the other. They are going to be differently.
Perfect, thank you. The next question is, on the first slide mentioned Space Console UI changes. Can you elaborate on those a little bit more, and has the performance been improved?
Yeah, we did put something on the what's new. I didn't expand on it in the deck. Can you comment on the Space Console, those UI improvements? I believe that they were about highlighting selections and showing those highlights, toggling those on and off. Is that right?
There are a few. Fred, you mentioned the PDF exporting. So we upgrade our XPost libraries, and then to enable the quality when you zoom into a drawing and then export the screen, either screen grab or ad hoc PDF exporting, you will have a much better quality. The quality will not degrade. The other enhancement we did are we enhanced the multiple selection highlight within the Space Console. So currently, when you select a highlight, it's not obvious how you can cancel those highlights, especially when you select multiple entries. For example, if I select 3 departments, I don't know how many I selected them, and I don't know how can get out of it, how can clear all my selections. So for this release, we introduced a selected label, as well as an action called clear selection, allows you to reset your selection and see the full original highlight or the drawing. So that's 2 parts of it. I think there are some other, you're talking about performance enhancements. We have been working continuously on that. And as a matter of fact, in the next release, we will also have another enhancement to Space Console. Keep in mind, the Space Console is a huge console that, it has lots of views to load. So if this is the first time you're loading it, it's going to take a little bit longer, but all the views will be cached. So for the subsequent loading, it should be pretty fast. But if you have any issues still, feel free to talk with Fred and I. I think it's, as we are continue enhancing the performance, the latest version will always have better and quicker responding time. So if you have a much earlier version, maybe you can contact our CS team to see if you can find a solution for that.
We do constantly work on performance improvements. We did a lot of changes between 25.4 and 26.1, especially. Working on additional, as I mentioned, working on additional performance improvements now, and those come from customers who have specific conditions that warrant it. So always looking at ways to improve as we move forward.
Great.
Yep.
Thank you, Fred and Ying. The next question, can you talk more about what's involved in the integration with IoT? Are there out-of-the-box analytics?
If that's about the IoT integration for space space utilization, Octavian, do you want to take that one?
Yes. So regarding the IoT space utilization integration, the view has several KPIs measuring the average utilization percentage, the number of persons in the room, and the number of persons exiting the room. If the sensors can collect other parameters like noise, luminosity in the room, temperature, we have we can calculate the average, and we display it in that view as well. And on the floor plan, we have several highlights that enables you to analyze the utilization of the floor and the other parameters that I mentioned earlier. And you can do that for a specific day or for a date interval, and even for a time interval. Meaning, for example, you can analyze the utilization in the morning, in the afternoon, or for the entire date, or for a custom hour range.
Great, thank you. And there is a question about how to access user voice. Fred, do you want to just, I can post the link in the chat, but if you want to give some additional instructions.
Yeah. There is a help link. I think that's the one Danielle will post in the chat. It goes through the step-by-step instructions, and it's pretty easy just to go to the URL that it mentions, set up your own username and password, and on our end, we enable it's a private forum, so we enable your email domain to be registered with that. That piece, I believe it says to contact your partner, who will make sure that who will contact us, and we make sure that it gets done. So just follow the instructions that on the help that Daniel posts, and we'll get you set up.
And sorry, Fred, I think I posted the link to the actual user voice forum. So I will get the help link and
The
post
help
that.
link. Yeah, that's a step-by-step guide.
Okay, perfect. Okay, the next question, did Archivist change the way the Zoom PDF generation of the floor plan via Space Console works so it matches the print function of an unzoomed floor plan?
Ing might be able to add to that, but I believe yes. As she mentioned, we added the ASPOS libraries that allowed us to treat zoomed in floor plans the same way that we treat other floor plans that aren't zoomed in, and that in the same manner. Is that about right?
Yes, yes. So there's two type of exporting. Exporting with the screen grab, which contains two exporting actions. One is exporting what you see. The other is ad hoc exporting. So for both of them, they used to be EMF format, which will be degraded when you're zoom in. But now with the upgrading ASPOS library and a new method to link it to show the SVG format, so that enhance the quality. So I think, yeah, I think Fred was right. Is everything is SVG now within those two screen grab format.
Great, thank you so much. The next question, can you use both mobile apps in one organization?
Yes. Both meeting the mobile frame. Yeah, they're among the three that I mentioned. There's no limitation on what can be used.
Great, thank you. And are any services or tasks required to migrate from the original mobile platform to the new one?
Nope, there shouldn't be anything more than just purchasing and license changes.
All right, great. Next question, if the room booking module is purchased, does the mobile version come with that, or is that a separate purchase? I think we kind of answered that before, but.
The room booking module, hoteling, enables Workplace. The only thing that enables that function in Workplace. There's nothing else you need to do. The only other piece that enables Workplace is the PACP licenses, which are the end user license that you can hand out that allows end users to do the booking.
Okay, and it looks like there is a revision of the question before, so just maybe a little bit more background. Regarding the workplace portal, when reserving a meeting room, does that also trigger the Exchange integration so the room in Exchange is also synced for availability?
All right. I'd have to get back I don't know off the top of my head, so I'll have to get back to you on that.
Okay. And then it looks like the last question, can you display the service catalog in Archibus Workplace app instead of allowing moves and just submit facility requests?
Yeah, the Workplace app is builds its choices from a service catalog that is set up in as part of setting up background data for Service Desk. So if you have Service Desk, there's an option in setting up a service catalog, and those options are exactly what's displayed in Archibus Workplace. Yeah, and together with there's keyword searches that you can set up too. So there's that how can we help you banner that that allows you type in, let's say you type in water and it can go into the leak problem, the leak service request. So there's keyword searches, there's a hierarchy, there's the mapping, as I mentioned, to maintenance requests and problem types. There's image uploads. So there's a lot of options that can be set up to define and refine your service catalog.
Perfect. I think that is everything we have for as far as questions go. So right on time. And Fred, do you by chance have the user help link handy? If not, we can send it out with the.
We'll have to send it out. I don't have it handy.
Okay, so we will send it out with the recording of the webinar. And thank you everyone for attending today. We hope you found it helpful, and thank you to Fred, Octavian, and Ing. We hope you have a good one.